live both on YouTube and on Facebook. I got a special guest for you in a few minutes, but we're going to talk a little bit and then I'm going to introduce a special guest to you, something that I know you're going to enjoy. But what we're going to talk about, and we always have to give a COVID 19 update. As you know, as we stated yesterday, we topped over 100,000 in this country dead from COVID 19, I believe, as of the day before yesterday. Um, and I still, no one has been able to tell me how it is that the most powerful country in the world, that the wealthiest country in the world, uh, how this country could still lead the world not only in infections but in death of COVID 19. No one has been able to explain that to me. So if you can, hit me up on YouTube, on Facebook. If you got my number, call me and let me know. Now, as I stated too, for those of you that are new on Facebook, because we just started going live on Facebook day before yesterday, what this is all about is we decided to go 14 consecutive days live to promote the launching of the vlog. And the vlog is Mike C, which launches this Monday, June the 1st. Check us out Monday because we are going to have some stuff for you. We're going to have some guests for you that I'm sure that you will enjoy and you will be able to glean from and learn from. So check us out Monday. Starting Monday, we're not going to be going every day. We'll release one vlog a week, and that the release date will probably be Sunday, no later than Monday. But it will be there by the time you go to work on Monday morning. So be looking for that. Check us out. And as you can see today, I'm wearing black. Now, I do have my MIH hat. And for those that have been watching and listening, you know that MIH stands for Make It Happen. I had a podcast, still have a podcast titled Make It Happen with Mike C. That podcast initially was designed to help anybody who wanted to be successful in the music industry, since I've been in the music industry for over 30 years. So that's what it was designed to do. Didn't matter what you wanted to do in the business. If you want to be an artist, a musician, a manager, an agent, producer, whatever it was, we were able to help you, because a manager is somebody in the music business. If you're going to be a good manager, you got to know every aspect of the business. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be an expert in every aspect. So that the areas that I really didn't know well, I would have somebody who was an expert in that area come on and talk about it. So I'm not going to totally get rid of MIH, because MIH is still needed. And what I'm doing with MIH is actually I'm going to expand it. So it's not just going to be dealing with music. It's going to be dealing with every aspect of your life, because we need to make it happen in every aspect of our lives. We need to make it happen in our financial part of our lives, and our relationships, and our business sense of making it happen. So Make It Happen is going to be around. It's just going to be a little bit more expanded. Minneapolis. I got a text actually about an hour ago before I came on to the show. Friend of mine in California, one of my brothers, not one of my blood brothers, but I guess you could say blood, because we blood brothers in Christ. The blood
Amen.
of Christ is what unites us. And he sent me a text earlier today. And that text, about an hour ago, he and I differ on a lot of things except for one thing. We love each other. You know what I'm saying? And just like with real family, with real blood, you're not going to agree on everything, and that don't change nothing. Okay? So I love my brother, but I disagree with him on some stuff. And what he was talking about was what's going on, not only in Minneapolis, but what's been going on in this country for decades, for centuries even. And what we're talking about is that people, good people, are protesting in Minneapolis. Don't get that wrong. Do not get it twisted. Don't let the media or anybody else misconstrue what's going on in Minneapolis, what's going on in Los Angeles, what's going on in Detroit, what's going on in Chicago, what's going on all across the country is people are fed up with the injustice that black and brown people have had to deal with. And so they are protesting. Now, what happens just about any time you have a protest, hence the name of today's show, the title of today's show is the tribulations through your trials, but smile, because you're going to have them. Anytime you try to do something good, Bad is going to try to get in. The devil is going to try to sneak in somewhere, somehow. You can't allow it though. And I'm going to say that to not only to the protesters who are out there doing the right thing, continue to protest, but continue to protest rightfully. Continue to protest in peace, like Martin Luther King always championed. Because when you step out of line, what you're doing now is you're giving those who are in the wrong an excuse to come at you. And I don't believe, I believe this. I don't believe that the people who are protesting in Minneapolis, I don't think that they're participating in the riot aspect of what's going on there. I don't believe that they're participating in the looting aspect that's going on there. That's what certain people would try to get the rest of the people to believe. Don't fall for it. Don't believe it. These are good people who are fed up, just like you're a good person. And I hope that you're fed up too, because I know I am. I'm tired. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to stay on the sideline. I'm going to do something. Maybe my something is just sharing with you my perspective. Maybe my something is sharing with you truth. And the truth of the matter is that the people who are protesting are good people. The truth of the matter is that the majority of the police who work in this country are good people, but they have the same thing that they have to deal with. The people who are protesting, if you know someone or you see someone who is participating in the riots, who's participating in the looting, you have a responsibility also to say something to them. That's what the Word of God says. See, the Word of God says you don't just going to tell on folks first. The Word of God says that you have a responsibility to go to that individual and let them know that they're wrong or what their wrong is. But you know who else has that same responsibility? Anybody that wears that badge. You have a responsibility when it comes to other officers that you see doing wrong. You have a responsibility to correct them because guess what, officer? They taint you. You see, we're used to that. As an African American, I'm used to being tainted by the people who aren't trying to do right. I'm used to being tainted by the people who don't care about doing right. I'm used to being tainted when I go into a place and people don't know me, but they assume negative just because of the color of my skin. You see, I'm used to living life like that. I'm not going to continue to accept it. I've never accepted it, but I'm used to dealing with it. I'm used to having to deal with it. And now what I'm going to say to all you police officers, all you good ones, that is, and I know that most of you are, you have a responsibility to correct the bad officers. There were at least 3 police officers in the vicinity when George Floyd was killed. There were at least 3 other officers who did nothing. Now, I haven't confirmed this yet, but I heard that they even falsified their report by not putting everything in there, all the information that this officer had his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck, exhausting the breath out of his body. To me, those police officers have a responsibility. The ones that did nothing, they need to be charged too, in my opinion. Because guess what? If I have a friend and my friend and I are going out to lunch and my friend robbed a store before I picked him up and the police come and he's in the car, you know what? I'm considered a suspect. You know what they're going to tell me? I'm going to jail until it's proven that I was not a part of it. What I'm telling you is those 3 officers have a responsibility to every other officer, just like they had a responsibility to George Floyd. The fact that they stood there and watched that man die, the fact that they stood there and watched the life choked out of him, they're wrong. That's wrong. So look, I did not start this show, this vlog, to actually talk about this kind of stuff. But as I told you yesterday, when I woke up Wednesday morning, I had no choice. but I'm not going to stay on this. I got a guy, because one of the things that helps us through times like this, for example, with the plague, a lot of folks call it a pandemic. I call it a plague. With the plague that's going on right now, when that type of stuff happens, generally what happens in this country is that look, I mean, I thought I turned my phone off. Don't y'all hate that? I know I do. I'm gonna turn it off right now, though. Generally, what happens? Look at that. Phone totally distracted me. But here's what I'm gonna get back to. What happens a lot of times is that when we have things like this pandemic, it's sports that gets us through. But guess what else? It's entertainment, it's comedies. And we got a brother today that we're gonna sit down and talk to here, who is very funny. Uh, they call him Mr. Amen.
Amen, amen,
Mr. Amen. Is that right, bro? Mr.
amen,
Amen.
amen.
I told you I got to take my glasses off to read. Uh, there he is, y'all. Mr. Amen. What's
Mr.
going on?
Amen in the flesh. What up? What up? How's everybody doing?
Oh, man, how you doing, my brother?
Oh man, I'm blessed, man. Highly favored and gifted by the blessed one. So I'm,
Amen. Amen.
I'm
Look, man,
excited to wake up every day.
I really appreciate you coming on with us today, man, and I'm so grateful to you, man. And I just want to tell you, man, you're a good brother. You're a good brother. And what I'm talking about, I mean, you're funny. Let me tell y'all a story, okay? The first time that I heard this brother, I was working with one of the best singers you have probably never heard. One of the best singers you could ever hear is a brother out of Sacramento by the name of Yarley Griffin Jr.
Oh
If
yeah.
you if you heard if y'all heard Yarley, you know what I'm talking about. The brother just be flat out blowing. He's gifted. There's a difference. You have talent and then you have gifting. Yarley
Amen.
Griffin, he is gifted. He's blessed in what he does. And in the same breath, Andreri Bailey is blessed, and he's not just a comic. He don't just get up there and make people laugh. He's blessed, and what he does is he blesses people as he do what he do. So, man, thank you again for being on with us, Dre, man. Anything you want to say to the? I'm gonna give you a few minutes, man, just to holler at the audience, man. Go
Well,
ahead.
thank you, man. Thank you for having me. Again, this is Andre Bailey, Andre B. Funny, Mr. Amen, all the different things people call me. Just as long as you don't call me food, I'll be all right. Out here living in LA, but that back down here in Sacramento, enjoying this weather we got. Baby's about to graduate tomorrow, so
Oh,
got
all right. Congratulations, man.
yeah, yeah, excited about this weird little virtual graduation we're about to take place, but I'm still excited. Still excited.
Amen. 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 Amen with that. Now look, I always say, man, we got children that's graduating. They ain't the only ones graduating. We graduating
Amen.
too, man. We
Sure,
graduating
we
right
was
with
there
them.
the whole time. I've been there the
Yeah.
whole time.
Because we put in the work with them, man. They ain't done this thing all by themselves, man.
No, no, all the tests you did by yourself, but all the other stuff, I was right there.
Preach, preach, man, preach. So, man, how has COVID-19 affected you as a comedian? I know you probably ain't doing no gigs, man, because everything is shut down. Well, let me share this with you. I actually last night, man, it had to be about 11:30, maybe midnight my time. I got a text from this young sister, man, talented. You probably know her. Her name is Destiny Robbins,
Oh yeah, I
and
know that's
she is one heck of a poet. She texted me and she said, "I think this is something that you will like." And man, I loved it. She did a poem, and the title of the poem is "I Can't Breathe." I can't breathe. So I'm gonna bring Destiny on either Sunday or Monday. She's gonna be on. But the thing that I'm saying, the reason why I brought her up is we hear people talk about singers a lot. And when you start saying what's the difference between the singers of today versus the singers of yesterday, one of the things is that the great singers, not everybody, but the great singers of yesterday, they talked about the things that we were going through at the time. So they talked about whether it was the Vietnam War, whether it was oppression, that was in their song. They wrote about it. And do comics do that?
I would say I mean, the difference is, in every medium, it has its own uniqueness. In like a song or a poem, those type of things can be done, and not just in a topical way. Whereas a comic can bring up things, they can bring up things more in like a we are the world type of situation. So even though we are the world, whatever was going on to make them write that song can still be played, year after year after year, whenever anything like that goes on. Whereas in comedy, we get an opportunity to talk about what's relevant at the time.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody's going to want to hear me talk about COVID-19 in 2020, or not 2020, but
I
in
know what you mean.
2022.
2030
What
or
I mean?
whatever. Yeah.
Bringing it up. It's almost like when we do stuff that's old, it's considered hack. So you go to a
Okay.
comedy club and you hear a guy talking about Spirit Airlines, or even bringing up an airline, and you automatically say, "Oh, here we go." Whereas you hear that song, "We Are the World," and you think to yourself, "Oh man, this is going to bring me back to that
That's a good
time
point.
of that." So it's a lot different in the type of emotion that we all bring out
Right.
in people in our different mediums. So
Very good
just
point. Now, I heard Kevin Hart say something the other day, and I think I've actually seen some of this myself. And that is, Kevin Hart said that society has changed as a whole. He said there were things that comics used to be able to do 20 years ago. Virtually nothing was off limits. And now you can't do that. You can't talk about a lot of things because the backlashing that you get. Do you find that to be true?
I think what he's talking about more on the line is his level in the game. So where he's at in the game, he can't really talk about everything because it's going to affect money that he may want to make in the future. Whereas a person like Dave Chappelle and Eddie Griffin are at a point in their career, and to me, Eddie Griffin was doing what Dave Chappelle is doing now, and you're able to get away with it. To me, it's backwards. Before, you weren't able to say whatever you wanted to say. You had to use innuendos and be creative in how you said stuff. Now you can just flat out be like Dave and be like, "No, them is faggots," Whereas Eddie Griffin was doing that, 15 years ago, and didn't get to where he wanted to go because he did what he was doing. So
Now,
we,
actually, he did bring up Dave Chappelle, and what's his other guy, Rogan, Joe Rogan.
mm,
Both they brought up Dave Chappelle, and that's what they said, that they felt that Dave was the only one who could get away with, like his last special he did, I think, on Netflix. They said that most other comedic comics could not have gotten away with saying a lot of stuff that he said. That's real, huh?
and only in the fact that other comics are still trying to work. Dave Chappelle already turned down $50 million, so it don't matter to him.
Right,
His
right.
next paycheck don't matter to him, so he can say whatever he want to say. Eddie Griffin, 15 years ago, when he was saying what Dave Chappelle is saying now, cost him money.
Okay, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Cost
Yeah,
him work. We
yeah.
were seeing Eddie Griffin in all kind of movies. You know what I mean? But
Right.
being
Had his own
truthful,
TV
you
show.
know, yeah, being truthful in our business can cost you. You know what I mean? It cost
Right,
Kevin Hart. You know what I mean?
right.
Because
Yeah,
he wanted to be a host of a thing that doesn't give you any money and doesn't, give you any type of notoriety really, but you're a part of that. So people want to be a part of that, and
right.
when that's your motivation, yeah, you say to yourself, "Oh well, I can't say that because." my motivation is to be a healer and to, I don't even really get to say what I want to say. I pray before I go up, and whatever he
Amen.
say is what come out. So,
Amen.
I don't even get to. I think to myself, I'm about to go up there and tell you people what I want to say, and then God starts talking.
Yeah, man. I where I was really impressed with you was you were at my dad's church, and it was you and three or four other comics. And I believe there was another guy who was supposed to be there who was supposed to headline and maybe host, and he didn't show. So what you did to me is a good sign of someone's ability. And what I mean by that is I used to tell when I was managing and people would come to me with tapes saying they could sing and stuff like that. You can really sing? Sing something for me right now.
Right now,
Sing for me right now. And man, they would freak out, man, and they couldn't do it. You see, a real singer can sing on a dime, man. On a dime. When you see footage of the old singers back in like the 60s and the 50s and stuff singing on street corners, man, they could sing and they loved to sing and they sang anywhere. And
anyway,
people still do that today, the real singers. So what you did that night was, I'm sure you had a certain amount of time allotted to you. But because this individual did not show up, I don't even know who it was, you had to take over. You had to do not only your spot, but that person's spot too. And you did it, and there was no falling off. You know what I'm saying? I know you did at least 30 minutes, and the whole 30 minutes was funny, man. So I was very impressed that night for you to be able to do what you did, not only the way that you did it, but the level in which you did it. So to me, that's like I said, you can call it talent, you can call it gifting, whatever you want, but everybody ain't got it. I know that.
or you
So
can also call it when you do somebody else's time, you get their money. So, uh, 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 all you when I go to shows, I be trying to figure out, is anybody showing, anybody call in? 'Cause, just give me the this right
Give me
here, and I know,
$10,
ching
huh?
ching, I got more time. I can
See,
let God talk all night. I ain't got no problem with letting God talk.
let's see, man. I hadn't thought about it from that angle, man. That's a good point. That's a very good point, man.
Like, I pull up
but
like, let him use me.
but see, that still, I know that didn't make it no easier. It would maybe have been more gratifying, get a little bit more money, but it wasn't easy, and you handled it well, man. So I was impressed, very well impressed, man.
Yes, yes, no, it's always a blessing to be able to do what we do. And actually, what some people don't even realize is it's actually easier to go longer than it is to go shorter. When somebody tell
Really?
you, "Do you got 10 minutes?" You're like, "Nigga, I just be getting started in 10 minutes. Like, what are you
Right,
talking about?
right.
What I'm gonna do in 10? You gotta figure out what you're gonna do. Now, somebody tell me I got an hour. Oh, now I get to play around. Now I
Okay,
get to play your
okay.
ass blood, So, but when you're charging people, you have to let them know. No, 10 minutes is 10 minutes.
Okay. They'll try to take advantage of it, huh?
You're like, well, you said longer is good for you, didn't you?
Yeah, man. When I used to do shows, singles was like that too, man. You know. But I'm gonna tell you, somebody who impressed me did something similar to what you did, and I've never forgotten this. This had to be 20 years ago, and that was Monica. Now she was sick; she had a cold, and she was on tour. She wasn't a headliner, but she couldn't go on because she was sick. She had the flu. But what she did was she came out of the locker room area to see how the crowd was going to respond to the host saying that she was sick and she wasn't going to be able to respond. And people were clearly disappointed. They didn't boo, but they let the host know that they were disappointed. I was standing right next to her and her mother, and she's like, Mom, please," And finally, her mother said, "All right, do one song." I think she did three. Man, you could not tell that she was sick when she was singing. Now, when she wasn't singing, she was off stage. You could tell she was sick. She tore it up, tore it up. So to me, that's something when you have